Welcome to the Coach Style Podcast, where I like to talk to athletes, trainers, and coaches for some of the advice, some of the trials and the tribulations, but also some of the successes and some of the things that they did to help them achieve their goals. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Coach Style Podcast. So this is Mr. Scott Maine, who played a little bit. And I'm just going to read off, and hopefully it doesn't blush too much. Were you born in Florida, by the way?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Yeah.
Born and raised in Florida.
Vero Beach, but then I moved to Palm Beach Gardens.
Okay. You were drafted by the Mariners in the 15th round in 2003, but you didn't sign.
Right.
That was high school, right?
Yeah.
So you were drafted out of high school. You played your college ball at University of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You got drafted again by the Rockies in the 23rd round in 2006, but you didn't sign again.
Mm-hmm.
You also played in the Cape Cod League in 2006 with the Brewster Whitecaps, and you were named the League All-Star.
Yeah.
You were drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 6th round of 2007, and you signed with them, right?
Yep.
You went all the way through the minors, all the way up to AAA with the D-backs, and you got traded to the Cubs in 2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe it was August is when you made your appearance. You went up to the club and like the same day, right?
No, August 23rd is when I got called up. We were in Washington, and then we flew like a day or two later. We flew to Cincinnati, and I made my debut on the 27th.
Very nice. You also played for the Cleveland Indians, the Miami Marlins, the Toronto Blue Jays, and Cincinnati Reds. And then you also did a stint in, I believe this is Indy Ball, Bridgeport Bluefish, the Vaqueros Laguna.
That's in Mexico.
So is that the, what's that? What is that? The LMB? Something like that?
Yeah.
The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, the Sugarland Skeeters,
Yep.
and then the Ottawa Champions. Is that Canada?
Yep.
Okay. And then here's my favorite one that I found. I want to ask you if this is true, because not many MLB guys in the show can say this. You have a 1,000 fielding percentage.
Do I?
You are 3 for 3.
There you go. I mean, I can't remember when I fielded or made. I mean, a couple times. I have a real good one against. I'll have to show you the video.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. Swinging bunt down third base.
Oh.
And it was a catcher, so I had a chance. His name was I think Matt Pagnazzi. He's playing for the Cardinals. It was in the big leagues. And he hit it third base line. I had to run over there, field it on my right leg, turn and throw. And Xavier Nady was first base. And I'm sure he didn't think I was going to make the play. But, you could see I threw a bullet over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he caught it. And he was like did one of those. And he's like,
boy.
Yeah.
Did you play, that's very athletic. Did you play another position in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I played at center field because I had an arm, and first base because I was lefty, and I don't know.
And you're kind of tall, right?
Kind of.
Are you 6'4"?
6'3".
6'3". When did you start playing baseball?
Probably T-ball age. I don't know, 4, 5, 6, something like
T-ball. When did you know that did you always want to go pro, or did you just know that you were because of your skill set?
that. I mean, I can't tell you what I was thinking back then. I just knew I liked throwing the ball hard.
Just throwing the ball hard.
Yeah.
And then, did you hit in high school?
I did hit, but I was just a body.
Just a body, just filling a role?
Yeah, I mean, I played center and first when I wasn't pitching, or if I wasn't starting, I was relieving. But I mean, I could take a walk.
Did you ever play travel ball?
See, I don't know. I asked my buddy this the other day. There was a few options, but it wasn't like travel ball today.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you can go try out and an organization has 3 or 4 teams the same age group to pick from. It was more like maybe there's 1 to 2 travel ball where they play local tournaments in I don't know, 100-mile area. There's maybe 3. I don't know. Not many.
Yeah.
But some of the guys around my area, their dad started a team called the Yellow Jackets. I played on that. But we played in the Baseball America World Wood Bat Tournament in Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
I played on that team twice, 2 years in a row. We came in 8th and 3rd against the Baseball Americas. And
you probably played against some dudes in that.
Yeah, it was legit. It was good.
Yeah, I remember when I grew up playing in travel ball. Cause I started baseball in high school, but we jumped into the travel ball scene, and the only teams that ever traveled like a tank of gas away were like national teams, like the actual guys that went across the country. When did you? So you like throwing the ball. When did you discover that throwing hard and pitching are two different things?
I don't know. After I was done playing.
Dono had that same thing. So when he figured out, I asked him, I was like, what is something that older Dono, Coach Dono, would love to tell high school Dono that he knows now? And he was like, everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. What about you? What would you tell yourself back in high school?
I mean, nothing. I was all business. Like, I was, if you watch videos of me, there was no, it didn't look like I was ever having fun. I was being serious. Like, I took it serious.
Do you regret that?
No. Because that's what it is. Even today, if I went to Miami for the alumni game, it wasn't fun for me. It was,
I'm here to work.
I'm here to work, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the coaches in the Miami dugout were telling that, this guy don't fool around.
Do you feel so when you're competing as a work is also like practice work? Is it always just always on, or can you flip a switch?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I can have fun, but baseball was never about the fun aspect. It was about 3 up, 3 down, get in, get out.
Right.
I don't know. And I'm also from an era that we weren't allowed to have fun. If we were having fun, we weren't right. You know what I mean?
Right. There's that line.
But no, whenever we made mistakes, we ran our asses off. And it wasn't like 2 poles. It was like
Forever.
Military runs where you're holding a bat over your head,
right?
And the coach is going to get a coffee at his house and then coming back and being like, all right,
my
now
God.
we can be done.
There was a JUCO in Arizona that the coach, if you messed up, he would make you run off of campus, run across a busy intersection, caddy corner to it, make you, like, you'd go pick him up a big gulp and then bring it back to him. That was his, like, don't mess up anymore.
Yeah.
Would you? So I'm debating. Every successful, and we've talked about this before, every successful pitcher that gets on the mound, and I mean like high level performer, everyone that I've met, whether it be a Fuel Factory or played with or just got a chance to talk to, variable personalities, variable. But when they get on the mound, it's like the predator comes out. I always said, like, every great pitcher is tall, throws hard, and can turn into a psychopath when he's on that mound. Do you think there's something to that? Do you think that's God-given? Do you think you can develop that?
I mean, I think any sport you can get to that mode. You just have to want to be the best, so to speak, or win an at-bat, or, for me, it was an at-bat thing. I didn't think anybody should have made contact.
Right.
Like, my stuff was that good. But then again, with that mentality is what also limited me, because I overthrew stuff. No one's perfect.
Right.
So I was effectively wild, so to speak. And that only lasts for a certain amount of time. You can be effectively wild through the minors, but when you get to a certain level, guys aren't going to swing at that all the time.
Right.
So you kind of have to figure it out.
Right. Keep getting better. Do you think there is a way to train that, or do you have to do like competition every day? Do you have to put people in pressure situations? What worked for you?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really train anything in that aspect. It was just I wanted to not let the guy in the batter's box to get on base, and if he did, he better get hit by the pitch. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just one of those things that, like, I would get rewarded for strikeouts.
Yeah.
I would get like $10 a strikeout. My dad would give me $10. Obviously, I got paid a lot.
Right.
So that motivated me. And then once you get high school age, they're like, well, now you're ranked. So you got to keep that mentality to stay ranked.
Right.
And when I mean ranked, I think I was like 3 in Florida and like 10 overall in the country.
Yeah.
And like when you hear that, you're like, what? But every time you go pitch, there's eyes, and you could lose you could lose your ranking, which equates to money in the draft.
Right.
So that's what everything was based upon then.
Right. Yeah, I think when people talk about, oh, hey, I want to go do this showcase, I want to do this showcase, it's like they see, yeah, you could show really well and get some opportunities. You could also show bad and get your name crossed off the list. Like, it goes both ways. One thing I wanted to ask you, because you weren't always out of the pen. You started, right, in high school?
Started in high school and college.
So has your repertoire changed? Did your approach change? Did your pitches change? What adjustments did you make?
So in high school, I threw the gas. Sometimes I threw my curveball if I needed to, but I lit up. I threw hard. Like I said, I was effectively wild. In high school, you didn't have to hit a gnat's ass, so to speak.
Right.
But in college, I had Tom and John freshman year, so I had a good amount of time to kind of perfect my mechanics. But my pitching coach there would call all the pitches, which is I didn't care. But he was the most winningest pitcher at Miami, and he didn't throw necessarily hard. So he would kind of call pitches like he was pitching, which is fine. But when you throw more off-speed pitches in an outing than you do fastballs, you're not going to retain the fastball velocity. Your arm's going to be in off-speed mode.
Yeah.
Right. You won't develop that arm. So my fastball was still hard, but it wasn't topping out at what it used to in college. And then when I got to the pen and pro ball, I was 96 all the time. So that was awesome.
Did you like that, where you could just go?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to be a middle reliever or something like that where you have to go multiple innings because, I was kind of a one and done guy. So I became like the late inning closer kind of guy, which is good. Last 3 outs are hard to get.
Hardest, some would say.
Yeah.
When did so you recently went back to Miami and you had developed a changeup. And I believe you had said when you went back, the same guy that was your pitching coach was also there?
He's the manager now.
Oh, he's the manager now.
Yeah.
And he had said something about, like, what is that?
Yeah, he said he wished I had that when I was at Miami back in 2004.
We have construction going on here.
But yeah. So, but that's how many years ago is that? 20.
I can't believe you remember.
20.
That's wild. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You made an impression.
Oh, I mean, everybody knew who I was down there, even people that weren't associated with anything, because that was bad.
What would you? Did you do any weightlifting? Did you do any like band work
in college?
Any time.
High school, I mean, maybe very introductory stuff in high school. I was a tall, skinny kid. I think I was like 6'2", maybe like 160, 175, something like that. So obviously one of the goals was to get stronger. When I got to Miami, the strength coach was a ex-football strength coach from another university somewhere in the country. So we kind of did workouts more toward, kind of like a football workout. Not everything, but, some stuff. So that in addition with eating, 4 junior bacon cheeseburgers and a couple of Frosties for 2 meals a day, I gained 20, 25 pounds.
Good Lord.
But, they run down there too. And, there's no you could eat as much calories as you want, but you're going to burn them that next day.
Yeah. Would you do your nutrition any differently? Would you do it the same?
I mean, that's too hard, especially in the minors. You can't travel with a cooler or a fridge and do all that. You have to eat what's open in the crappiest areas. I mean, no disrespect to those areas, but like
it is what it is.
When you pull up to the Quinta and all you see is a Waffle House or like a Denny's, I mean, you got to go eat it.
Right.
It's not the best, or a McDonald's or whatever.
What did you when you were at University of Miami? Did you try and go for a major? What were you studying?
I changed my major so many times. I tell people I went there to play baseball, but I got in a car accident and I missed a semester. So I had time to decide I wanted to double major in sociology and liberal arts because I had taken so many classes from changing my major so many times. I was gonna do it in liberal arts, and they were like, "Well, you have enough. You only need one more class for sociology, so
Right.
you could do a double major."
Why not?
I was like, "All right," but I still have I don't know definitely less than 10 classes left, but
Yeah.
I think it's 98,000 to go there a year tuition.
Nope.
So yeah, unless they're gonna do some online courses, I don't
Right.
think
You
I'm
got some
gonna.
eligibility
Right.
left?
I do have another year. No, I think you lose it if you go pro. I'm pretty sure.
Do you want to talk about the car accident?
I mean, that's up to you. It's
This is fascinating to me. Like the fact that you're walking, let alone like still going to the alumni game of a D1 university. And by the way, I saw the video. You got squeezed on a couple pitches.
Yeah.
Dominated D1 hitters.
it was a pretty good day.
I mean, I'm all for it. I would love to hear the story again.
I mean, obviously I don't remember it. This is all like police report stuff, but I was a buddy. It was like the week before school started at Miami, and I was home in Jupiter. And Jupiter to Miami is like an hour and a half. And a buddy down in Miami called me and asked me if I wanted to play golf, and I said sure. So it was like noon, and his tee time was at like 1:15. So I needed to go an hour and 45 minutes in like 45 minutes. So I tried to get down there, and apparently I lost control and I went off the road, hit a bunch of trees, and in doing so I cracked my head open. So I had to go to the hospital. Spent the next 2 months in the
How
hospital.
fast were you going?
I don't know. I think I got that thing up to 165, so any between 120 and 165.
And you hit a tree.
I hit a bunch of trees.
A bunch of trees.
Yeah.
How was the truck?
It was done. Done, yeah.
And then 2 months in the hospital, and then you came out with some hardware, right?
Yeah, so I shattered my skull in 26 pieces, and they had to cut it out of my head and then put it back together with some metal, some titanium plates, and then they put everything back together on my head with 7 rivets, and then 42 staples. I had a facelift because they had to pull my skin down so far. So they pulled it back up like in Men in Black when that alien lands and takes that guy's body.
Good Lord.
That's what my face felt like. I felt like it was just going to separate where they stitched it together. I'm like, oh my God.
And you were at Miami when this happened, right?
Yeah, I was 05. So the anniversary just happened. It was August 9th, 2005.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
And you were pitching. Did you pitch that year? Did you have to take time off to recover?
So I missed that semester. It was in August, so I missed that whole semester, and I came back for 2 days. January, I think the first week of January, and I ended up being like the Friday or Saturday starter the opening weekend against the Gators.
And you had a mask on.
Yeah, I had to wear a mask.
Do you think that made you more intimidating? Do you think that?
I don't know. The only people that really complained about it were Florida State.
Yeah.
They were like, it's distracting. And I'm like, well, that guy over there pitching for you's got a chain on. I mean, what's the difference? The umpire's like, no, he has to wear that by rule.
Yeah,
it was clear.
He could die.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Yeah, so that didn't work, but
That's crazy. So all that happened again. You shouldn't be here. Every statistic would tell you that you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Then you went and played D1. Then was that the year after that you got drafted?
So I got drafted that year.
Yeah.
And then 2007. I got 06 and 07.
So that was the Rockies year.
Yep.
Okay, and then
I went to the Cape Cod too.
That's crazy. What was that recovery like?
I mean, I don't know. I heal pretty quick. And like I think there's in the New York Times they wrote an article about it, and I told them then, like I said it's not like I broke an arm.
Right.
Right. I broke something that's it's no moving parts. So other than it hurting for a while and having headaches, it wasn't really affecting my day-to-day life.
Right.
And I lost, I think, 60 pounds in the hospital because I wouldn't eat that food.
Right. Hospital food.
So I made my parents go get me, like, fast food. Like,
go pick up some.
I think the thing was, like, Burger King, like, chicken fries or chicken. Burger King had, like, they had chicken strips, but they were, like, fries.
Yeah, I think I remember this marketing campaign. Yeah.
So I was like, I need those. They would go get me those.
When it came to, some guys, for instance, at Fuel Factory, big throwers. They love to throw all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. Some guys, they have to pace it out. Did you throw a lot? Did you not?
I would say towards the end of my career, I became a very heavy thrower. just because I've built up so much stamina. I was playing winter ball every year.
Right.
I felt when I didn't take time off, my arm and body felt better. I never had to play catch up, or I never had to reintroduce my body into throwing again. Like I stayed violent all year long, and I never had to start spring training on like the disabled list or anything like that. Because my first couple of years, I wouldn't start throwing until January 1st.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got time. I got a month and a half, and then January 1st would come around. I'd play catch against the wall because no one could catch me, and I'd go to my high school and throw against the center block wall. Mm-hmm. And then my uncle would be like, hey, you want to come hunting? And I'd be like, yeah. So I would drive up to Alabama 10 hours and go hunting, and then drive back after Sunday for a weekend. I would go, and then I'd throw some more that week, and he'd be like, hey, you want to come up again? Yeah, all right. So I just,
So that was your program.
Well, it was just, you want to go fishing? Yeah, let's do it. And, throwing can wait another day.
Right.
And then I always start spring training like, crap, my arm feels like shit.
Right. Because you weren't geared up yet.
No, I didn't prepare. Like, spring training's not a place for you to prepare for the season. You need to be ready day one.
You need to win your spot.
Well, that, and the coaches are expecting you to be ready. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of them.
How close were you to, let's say, any of the big league club pitching coaches versus any of the indie ball pitching coaches? Was there a difference in how they acted or the relationship?
I don't know. It's tough to say. Everybody's a little different. Everybody had better influence. I spent 3 years or 4 years in the Iowa Cubs, mm-hmm. which is in Des Moines. We had the same pitching coach, so I would say, him and I were on the same page pretty well.
Yeah.
There's guys that don't really, they just let you be you. I mean, at pro ball, they're not there to kind of like guide you to be the best that you can be. They're there to make sure you don't hurt yourself and to maximize what you have at that point. Maybe some guys are going to work on a new pitch eventually, and they're there to help with that. But I mean, most of it is just, you're almost the same age as all these people.
Right.
So, I mean, I would feel weird if, like, I was a pitching coach at 40 and, let's just say I'm a pitching coach at 45 for the Diamondbacks and Randy Johnson's there at 42. Like, what am I going to tell that guy?
Right. Keep going.
Yeah, hey, man.
Doing great.
You need a water?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It just depends. Like, what are you going to tell some of these guys? Are you,
mm-hmm.
and if you do tell them something to try to better their control, it might take a couple mile an hour off their fastball, and higher ups might not like that. I don't know. So it's just different. Everybody's different.
Did you find a program that helped you get better or stay at your best, whether it be like meditating, mobility, anything like that?
Honestly, the just a good shoulder program for post throwing off a mound, and mm-hmm. if you have an extended time where you can't get in the weight room, is good. What
would you do after you throw?
I would do the 3 or 5 pounds just out to the side, the front, and do some other things. The Cubs had us doing it in my arm. It was easy, quick, and my arm always felt pretty good.
So some like basic, easy blood flow, rotating.
Yeah, it's really about stabilizing. You got to pinch your shoulders back to get the traps out of the movement.
Right.
Right, because when the traps move your shoulders, it'll move your scap, and a lot of things will be used to move it instead of the things you wanted to pinpoint and strengthen. So that's what I teach kids here. It's kind of hard because they can't keep their scaps pinched back.
Right. Half of them don't even know they have.
No, they're like, I'm like, oh God.
What is some of the stuff that you learned from playing at higher levels that has helped you become a pitching coach, a better pitching coach?
I don't know, because I give lessons to a lot of younger kids right now. I do have some older kids. I think they're 15 or 16. And you can't, I'm not going to tell a 10-year-old the same things I would tell a 14 or 15-year-old because they're at different levels.
Right.
And with that being said, I don't know. I mean, it's all the same, really. Like, as kids get older, you gotta influence them to try to throw harder because they get comfortable throwing whatever speed they're at.
Right.
And it's especially these kids that have a huge growth spurt. They'll come in the next year and they'll be like a foot taller, and they'll throw the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why haven't you? Like, well, I haven't been throwing that much, and it is what it is. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, you can control yourself too well. You need to put more effort and be a little bit more out of control, and you might throw 10 miles an hour harder. And they'll be like, what? Like, yeah, you're moving too easy. You need to move more violently, and just that alone will get kids throwing harder.
And even as a catcher, so like when a pitcher lets the ball go, their job's pretty much done, right? Unless the ball gets hit back to them or a bunt or something like that. But as a catcher, I'm not done yet. Like I still got more to do. And as a pitcher, like if your movement, like if you aim at me and your movement takes it to one knee or the other, I'm just gonna set middle of the plate.
Right.
Like we'll play that game all day.
Yep.
As long as we stay out of the heart.
Guys set up middle of the plate for me because I had too much movement. And I was throwing to a spot or an area. I wasn't, I could spot it up, but not consistently.
Do you think, did you ever mess around with weighted plyo balls?
No. Hell no.
Was there a reason?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Too much weight. I feel like I threw enough long toss that I didn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put enough effort into developing arm strength by throwing long toss that I didn't need to supplement it with balls that weigh 2, 3, 4 times the amount that they should be.
Did you ever throw a football?
No, because I had a weird arm angle.
Oh, that's right.
I can't throw it
from the low. Huh.
The only football I could throw is that freaking little like
a Nerf ball.
It was a Nerf, the whistle one.
Oh.
You could throw that from any angle, and that thing will zoom.
Awesome. Throw bombs.
Yeah.
If you had a player and you could design him any way you want, and he just entered high school and he was 15, he's a freshman, he's a pitcher, and he has time to put into his craft. What is a good metric that a high school, across the board, across the nation, a high school freshman, what is something that you would think to put them ahead of where they should be? Like what metrics? Like should they need to locate a fastball? They just need to throw hard. Do they need an off-speed pitch? What do you think? If you can create a high school freshman you're solid, you're good to go. What's a good metric?
I mean, for me, I like a guy that has calm, fluid mechanics and can throw hard. Like a sneaky fastball. A guy that looks like he's going to throw 80 poo, but it just...
all of a sudden it's there.
Right.
What do you have, like a changeup or just doesn't matter? Here it is.
I don't know. That stuff really doesn't matter to me because you can get guys out with your fastball only if you throw it in the right spots.
Yeah. Locate and move.
And I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of times people get too caught up in off-speed pitches.
Yeah.
And it messes everything else up.
When did you learn your off-speed?
I mean, it always changed because balls are different every year. Like my changeup evolved every year because things were always different. But I always had a good curveball. You
still do.
I'd say my changeup was always my third best pitch. I never threw a 2-seam. My 4-seam was always, it moved and it was hard. But with the curveball, I mean, I don't know how old I was, maybe 12 or 13. I don't know.
Did you feel...
I threw a split too one game.
Yeah, and you didn't have very much fun with that afterwards, right?
Well, I threw the split and I threw a no-hitter, 17 Ks.
Well, that's a lot of fun.
And then after the game, there was a scout there, and he was like, what were you striking everybody out with? And I said, a split. He's like, ooh, because he knows my arm angle. And he's like, you better not throw that anymore. You're going to have Tommy John. And I had Tommy John next year.
Oh, jeez. Did you keep on throwing the split?
No, but it wasn't from that. It was from it started from a Legion tryout. I got there late, and they were making throws from the outfield to third base. And I didn't warm up, I made... But I took the whole summer off after I had that pop in my elbow, and I rehabbed it. And I played my senior year of high school and still was throwing 96, I think 96, 94, 96.
Did you have pain with that?
I mean, not anything abnormal. Then you always have pain, right?
It's hard to say like, hey, I'm hurt when you're throwing 96.
Yeah, and in high school you only throw like seriously one time a week.
Right.
or 1 game a week.
Did a lot.
So you can kind of manage arm pain.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
crazy back in the early 2000s too.
Yeah.
For 96. I
Mhm.
mean, that was gas. That was
Mhm.
fuego. You count probably like you could probably count on one hand, maybe two, how many guys would throw 95 plus. And you're doing this in
Supposedly
high
they
school.
say that the technology for all the guns nowadays is better. So they're saying like these 105s, you know, and I'm not they're throwing hard.
Yep.
But, you know, they're saying these guns are being able to read it more closer to out of the hand.
Yeah.
Versus when mine, they didn't read it maybe as close to the hand as they do now.
Did you
So
ever
I
see
don't know.
the documentary Fastball?
With Randy Johnson,
Had Rain Johnson, Nolan Ryan.
maybe.
They they went through the whole what's the word, chronological order or whatever,
Mhm.
on how they judge the fastball,
Mhm.
on like how the technology developed. Like they used to have guys throw in a motorcycle past them.
Right.
Like they used to do that kind of stuff. And they were saying that about Nolan Ryan because they were saying Nolan Ryan threw like 98,
Mhm.
but they were measuring his fastball like I think it was 3/4 of the way to the plate.
Mhm.
Like no,
At 98.
like he was over 100.
Right.
Like he was humming.
Yeah.
Humming.
They say what he's 108 technically.
They say that would be the mathematical equivalent.
That's
It was something
ridiculous.
dumb, dude. You know, I mean, it was.
I believe it though. That guy, like everybody would, them old timers, because there's a lot of old timers in organizations, and
Yeah.
they sit like this, and they never get up. They just sit there and they'll talk. They'll tell you stories. And when like one time when I forget who it was. If he was like Randy Johnson before the start, he would walk down the foul line and kicking the chalk and staring in the dugout of the opposing team. And
I love it.
And he wouldn't say a word. He would just be like, Randy, he was doing that to say if you bunt down this line off of me, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
And that's the crazy part. I think a lot of people forget that because I've told hitters this. Like, it's not normal to stand in and hit.
Right.
Like, that ball, once it gets above 80, can kill you if it hits you the right way, right? Like, so getting hit, and especially, I mean, I said it before, every great pitcher I know can either is that way or they can flip that switch where we're going to get work done. What is, so, because
I mean, that's called adrenaline, right? That's the switch. It's just people can have more of it.
I think a lot of it too is a lot of fight or flight, and I think some guys will run from it, but some guys embrace it and they can use it.
Yeah,
and you see it, like they're just natural killers. We got lessons coming up, and I hate to cut this off because I love hearing this. But what is something that if you only had one opportunity, because they were moving to the other side of the country or something, but you had a young pitcher, and you could only tell him one thing, one piece of advice. You're never going to see him again, but to help him out, what would that one thing be?
Probably to play catch every day, and not just like toss, like for real catch, like you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah,
something like that. Because that's when I was the best, I was playing catch every day. And people ask, well, what would you do on, rainouts or like a scheduled day off? And I was like, I hated scheduled days off. Because number one, you never traveled, or sometimes you traveled on the day off, which is mind-boggling to all the players. But it just throws you out of your rhythm of going to the field, getting your spread, talking with the boys, going to get your throwing program with your throwing partner that you've played catch with for 100 and something days. Just the music, all the stuff. And I was like, I hated them. I hated off days. So I just go play catch. He doesn't have to be, 400 foot, but a lot of times, these kids that come in here that are pitchers and they play for these organizations, they only warm up like it's like a pickup basketball game with the boys. They don't warm up in their motions. Like an infielder in the big leagues most of them at the end of their throwing program, they'll do short hops, quick hands, like after they're loose and ready before they go to take ground balls, like during BP. They'll throw a quick one hops, like maybe 5 each, and then they'll do like a quick hand thing, work on some foot drills, and then they'll go. And I'll ask these kids, I'll be like, do you guys pitch out of your mechanics in warm-ups? They're like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? So you you could go weeks without throwing out of your pitching mechanics and then get thrown right into the fire. Like, yeah.
Brutal.
I'm like, guys, every day a pro pitcher gets on that foul line and throws out of his pitching mechanics. Now, if you're not pitching that day, I don't care. Throw as an outfielder and then throw 20 throws as a pitcher.
Right.
Just in case you guys go 25 innings and you're the last guy and you got to pitch. Right.
Baseball
you know what
happens.
I mean? Well, not here because they got an hour and 15-minute time limit, but whatever.
Yeah, you got 5-7 games a weekend.
Yeah.
You could. You never know.
Nah, play catch every day is definitely
cool. Where can people find you if they want to follow you?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't. You have to tag me if you post this.
I'll tag
I forget. I forget what my handle is.
They can find Scott Maine though, right? I think you're in your Cubby uniform on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. Just type in my name. Stuff will come up.
Scott Maine. And then, do you want to plug anything?
Not right now. Maybe next time.
All right. I like it. Next time.
Yep.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
I appreciate you.
Yep. I meant to ask you when we first started if you hit record on that thing.
I hope so.